Many Rangers helped the team get to first place in the division with their strong performances. Meanwhile, others held the team back. Entering June, the Texas Rangers held a 28-31 record, or 2.5 games out of first place in the AL West. Texas then went 16-11 in June, capped off by 6 straight wins, proving its record 44-42, and claiming sole possession of first place in the division. So let's take a look at several players who deserve credit for Texas's strong month, and some who failed to live up to expectations. So our first player we're going to look at is DH Joc Pederson. He provides power under the leadoff spot. After a rough start to his Rangers career, Pederson is proving he still has some gas left in the tank. The designated hitter slashed .247, .312, .529 with 6 home runs, 10 extra base hits, and 13 RBIs in 93 plate appearances last month, improving his season slash line to .241, .338, .474. For a Rangers lineup that has struggled much of the season, Pederson has been one of the few bright spots. And then when we take a look at pitching, we have to acknowledge Jacob Latz. He's been the lockdown closer the Rangers have been needing for years. The Rangers' decision to move Latz to a full-time closer role has paid off in a huge way for Texas. While he had already been performing at a high level before June, he took his game to the next level last month, allowing just 2 runs on 6 hits and 4 walks over 16 innings. He collected 19 strikeouts and tied the franchise record for most saves in a month with 11. But now, we have to take a look at 2 Rangers who were bitter disappointments in June. Shortstop Corey Seager cannot seem to remain healthy. It seems unfair to blame a player for struggling to remain healthy, but Seager's poor health has nonetheless been a major disappointment this season. He returned from the IL on June 4th after missing a little over 2 weeks due to lower back inflammation. Seager didn't last long on the Rangers' 26-man roster, being placed on the IL on June 15th with a concussion. The Rangers activated him again on June 25th, but put him back on the IL on July 1st with, guess what, lower back inflammation, which caused the shortstop to be removed from Tuesday's game against the Guardians in the first inning. Despite hitting just .194 in the month, Seager had a respectable .126 RC+ in June due to a .324 on-base percentage and .484 slugging percentage. His .158 BABIP proves he was a bit unlucky. However, the fact that Seager had only 37 plate appearances in June made it an extremely disappointing month for the shortstop. And then, right-handed pitcher Jack Leiter. He lands on the IL after 3 rough starts. Leiter made just 3 starts in June before landing on the IL with an ankle injury, which required the right-hander to undergo arthroscopic surgery to remove a loose body. Leiter will be sidelined until August, if not longer, according to Dallas Morning News. So now we're going to take a look at 3 trade targets Rangers should jump on once the Mets decide to become sellers. It's that time of year again. Teams that find themselves well below 500 and not within shouting distance of a playoff berth are looking to unload to get better for 2027. The New York Mets are one of those sellers after firing manager Carlos Mendoza with the deadline approaching, and several candidates would strengthen the Rangers as they pursue the postseason and are likely buyers after a huge 4-game sweep that put them atop the AL West. The Mets are 35-50 and 15.5 games back of the Atlanta Braves in the NL East. They are also 10 games out of the final wild card in the NL. So these are 3 players who could conceivably be trade targets for the Rangers to both boost the bullpen and give Skip Schumacher more matchup options on offense. Chris Young just made a deal with the Mets to get Brandon Nimmo, so the organizations have a history with each other. Now on opposite ends of the spectrum of contention, the 2 sides might be able to link up again. Oscar Brazoban has been a bright spot for the Mets in 2026. Pitching in middle relief, he has compiled a 4-2 record with a 1.94 ERA and a .96 WHIP over just 41.2 innings. He also fanned almost a hitter per inning with 38. Brazoban is among the very best in the league in a number of advanced metrics, including xERA, xBA, average exit velocity, barrel percentage, hard hit percentage, and ground ball percentage. He could be that reliable 6th or 7th inning guy who gets the ball to Jacob Junis and Jacob Latz late in the game. Luke Weaver has also been lights out of the bullpen, flashing a .206 ERA and a .82 WHIP over 35 innings pitched. Some of his most impressive metrics are 275 xERA, a 197 xBA, 28.9% K rate, and a 31.4% hard hit rate. The Rangers would likely try to fortify their bullpen with either Weaver or Razoban, as they are both right-handed relievers who work in the middle innings. Current Ranger right-handed relievers include Cole Winn, Joe Ross, and Chris Martin, have all been inconsistent, and Peyton Gray is still a rookie. So reinforcements could be an area of need. The Rangers signed veteran righty Chris Paddock, but we all know what happened with that. Offensively, the club might pursue left-handed hitting first base DH Jared Young as a potential platoon partner with Jake Burger, who, despite his recent success, still struggles against righties. In 103 at-bats with the Mets, Young is slashing .233, .310, .447, with 6 home runs and 14 RBIs. More importantly, he has a .793 OPS split with all 6 of his homers coming against right-handers. None of these players is going to put you over the top, but they could be important additions that could make the Rangers stronger over the second half of the season as they jockey with several teams for a postseason berth. Of course, we got to address Corey Seager again. The latest Corey Seager update is a crushingly familiar blow for fans. It wasn't a good sign when the Texas Rangers had to pinch hit for Corey Seager in the top of the first inning Tuesday night. The often injured shortstop said that his back flared up during the warm-ups, but he was still on the lineup card when the game began. Now Skip won't be writing his name down for the foreseeable future, as the 32-year-old has been placed on the 10-day IL with lower back inflammation. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same injury that cost him 19 games from May 15th through June 4th. In between back issues, Seager also missed 12 games due to a concussion. The worst part of it all is that Texas had devised a plan to try and manage his workload to avoid these issues. On the one hand, the Rangers have been rolling, and having a healthy Seager who produced at his career norms would have been a game changer for the club. On the other hand, they not only don't have a healthy Seager, but with a 182, 292, 374 09 this season, one can make the case that he was hurting more than helping while he was out there. Lower back inflammation isn't a terribly descriptive diagnosis, so it doesn't provide us with much information to think through what the future holds. However, if you pull the thread enough, there is a hypothesis that makes sense. Perhaps Seager has been dealing with this issue for most or all the season. It's pure speculation, but it would explain his stark downturn in performance, and also why, despite Texas's best efforts, the issue has cropped up again. If that is the case, it could mean a prolonged shutdown for Seager, and that means that the Rangers must understand that Seager can't be relied upon. To an extent, they've already learned that lesson. That brings about some more existential questions. Do the Rangers eventually look to trade Seager? Would that even be feasible this season? Or do they take what they can get from him for the duration of 2026 and then look to move on over the offseason? More immediately, who fills the void? This is one where the Rangers have a decent amount of answers. Ezekiel Duran could go back to being the primary shortstop, though that robs Texas of the value his versatility provides. Nicky Lopez could also fill in as the everyday starter. He certainly has the club for it. Back in 2021, Lopez played 148 games for the Royals at shortstop and posted a mind-boggling 25 outs above average. And this year, he's been a real spark plug with the bat and on the bases for the Rangers. Finally, there's top prospect Cameron Cawley. He recently started in center field, but played previous 2 games at second. He logged 27 games at shortstop down in Round Rock, and while his original role was likely to platoon with Evan Carter in center, and then fill in as needed in the middle infield, it might be time for a pivot. In a strange way, getting some clarity on Seager's situation after his surprise IL move has only brought about more uncertainty. The way the Rangers navigate the next few weeks will be vital in informing us not only what their plan moving forward is, but how much of an impact this injury truly has on their chances to contend. So, there's a recent article out by Joc Pederson. Hopefully I said that name right. Links the Rangers to a game-changing outfielder, but a deal probably ain't going to happen. So ESPN published an article that ranked the top 2026 MLB trade deadline candidates. The Insider ranked Minnesota Twins center fielder Byron Buxton number 2, and surprisingly listed the Rangers as one of the best fits for the 32-year-old starter. Buxton, who is under team control through 2028 and a little over $15 million per year, would be a game changer for a Rangers lineup that has struggled all season. Ranking 28th in runs, 24th in OPS, and with Langford and Carter's offensive struggles this season, Buxton, who held a 275, 336, 601 slash line with the 3rd most home runs in MLB ahead of Their matchup against Texas would provide a much-needed offensive boost for the Rangers as a center fielder. Unfortunately, Buxton is almost certainly not going to be traded to the Rangers. The center fielder has a no-trade clause and has made it clear he wants to remain in Minnesota. Obviously, Buxton could change his mind ahead of the August 3rd deadline, but even if he does, it's doubtful he would waive his no-trade clause to join the Rangers, who are just one game above the Twins in the AL standings as of Thursday morning. If Buxton were to waive his no-trade clause, it'd likely be to go to the Atlanta Braves, his hometown team. Given their poor record, the Rangers may not even be buyers at the deadline. However, the team is just 2 games back of the AL West leading Seattle Mariners and a half game back of the 3rd AL wildcard spot. With a weak, wide-open American League and the pressure Chris Young must feel following back-to-back disappointing seasons, Texas may look to add at the deadline and not subtract. Unfortunately, Buxton likely wouldn't be one of the players the Rangers would add if they buy. While Ranger fans should be ecstatic if their favorite team stuns the baseball world by acquiring Buxton, there's one major concern regarding the center fielder. He is extremely injury-prone. Buxton played in 126 games last year, which was by far the most he has played since 2017 when he appeared in 140. But from 2018 to 2023, he appeared in fewer than 100 games each season. He's been relatively healthy this year, appearing in 64 of the Twins' 76 games. But the injury concern is always there, considering the frustration with injured star Corey Seager adding another one of the league's most fragile players. Regardless of talent, could end in disaster. Still, acquiring Buxton would be an exciting move for Texas, but realistically, it's not going to happen. So, the Rangers roster carousel keeps on spinning as the Chris Paddack era comes to an end as quickly as it began. We saw a flurry of roster moves by the Texas Rangers, including the uninspiring signing of veteran journeyman Chris Paddack. The 30-year-old quickly got the call to be the bulk man that same night, following Tyler Alexander's history-making start. To the surprise of many, Paddack performed reasonably well, gobbled up 4 innings for the Rangers, allowing 2 earned runs, while scattering 7 hits and allowing 0 walks. In a game that it seemed Texas was punting, he was one of the key forces that brought in the win. But after just one day, Paddack finds himself on the way out. Rangers have designated him for assignment to clear space to recall Gavin Collier from Round Rock. Unless the veteran surprises us and accepts the demotion, this time with the organization will be coming to an end just as quickly as it began. Chris Paddack got the boot because the Rangers need as many fresh arms as possible during this grueling stretch. The Rangers didn't have to DFA Paddack necessarily. The club called up top prospect Winston Santos from AA Frisco, but hasn't yet given him the opportunity to pitch. The flip side of this is that the team is in the midst of a daunting 15 games and 15 days stretch, so having as many fresh arms as possible is imperative. Therefore, Paddack's workload on Monday, and he would have been burnt for the next few days, while Santos and Collier can soak up innings now if needed. Collier spent 6 weeks in the bigs from April 15th through May 31st, showed some flashes, made 18 appearances and tossed 17 innings, posting a .371 ERA. But that doesn't tell the whole story. The 25-year-old walked batters at an 18.4% clip, which is bad any way you slice it. The silver lining was that his arsenal, headlined by a 97.7 mile-per-hour fastball, proved difficult to hit, yielding just a 175 batting average against. Technically still a prospect, Collier's performance was enough to make him a riser, entering Baseball America's top 30 Rangers prospects in May, coming in at number 20. There's an added benefit that he has more upside than Paddack, though he can't make a spot start the way Paddack could. The bigger takeaway here is that this kind of maneuvering will continue over the next couple of weeks. Texas will continue to cycle through pitchers, so don't get too attached to any of the bottom of the depth chart guys. Moreover, this opens yet another 40-man roster spot. The Rangers currently have 38 of the 40 slots filled, setting the scene for future signings or potentially a trade. There's another shoe that will drop. We just don't know what it will be yet. Let me know your thoughts on the topics we covered in the comment section below. And of course, give us a thumbs up if you like our video. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification button to be notified of future videos. And we will see you in our next episode.